Broadcasting live from the moon and back, this is The Coin Chat, the most trusted voice for all things cryptocurrency. Each week we dissect an important issue and cut through the noise and misinformation out there in the world of blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICOs, capturing the facts that truly matter to you that will give you an edge in this fast-moving emerging market. The who, what, where, when, and how of what you need to know in crypto to get ahead so you don't get left behind. Now here are your co-hosts, financial and crypto experts Yuri Cataldo and Steve Good.
Hey, this is Steve Good on the Coin Chat with my co-host Yuri Cataldo, and today we are welcoming a guest who's in the world of mining, Amir Ness, the CEO of Elevate Group. Amir, great to have you. Thank you for joining.
Thanks, guys. Good to be here.
Thanks for coming.
So, Amir, you've been in mining for how long now?
So we started, I've personally been involved in mining for a little less than 2 years now. Elevate Group started about 8 months ago, and that was kind of my brainchild, and my partner Gabby. We had a private mine, basically, which is located in Irkutsk, Siberia, and then we opened it up to the public, really kind of as a response to what we thought was wrong with the cloud mining model. We didn't like cloud mining. It was really messed up, you could say, from an investor's perspective. So we said we could do this a lot better, and we did.
Just to clarify, there's a lot of different types of mining, because you have like online mining, like you can go to NiceHash and borrow other people's mining facilities, or there's people that are like Bitmain that have all their ASICs in walls, on units running. So which world of mining are you residing in, just so everyone knows a little bit more about what you're doing?
We're like a classic data center is what you'd call it, where you don't go online or mine or anything like that, because you need to have an ASIC miner, which is a heavy duty processor. You can't do this on a CPU or a GPU.
Yep.
So and that's basically our essential value proposition, is we're able to manage and run the ASIC miners efficiently because of power costs. We have the engineering staff on site. We have security on site. We have cold weather in Siberia and low power costs. All of these elements, all of these elements put together to get us to basically where we can go out there and say, look, we have one of the best commercial platforms, and this is how you can mine with us. So it's kind of like what we call MaaS, mining as a service.
Sure.
So, go ahead.
I would say, Amir, why did you decide to get into mining? Like, what was it where you're like, you know what, I want to open a data center in Siberia?
Yeah, so good question. I like mining for the following reason. One is I love Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin is more than what we're seeing now. In other words, I think Bitcoin is going to be a universally denominated currency, a currency that will be able to stand against every single other currency as the main currency, basically. Okay. So everything valued relative to Bitcoin. And even though I knew there were going to be a lot of other amazing blockchain companies, and they were going to do 10x and 100x and 1000x. My background is in trading, and one of the things I picked up in trading is you can't trade everything, number one, and number two, I didn't want to trade anymore. I wanted to stop trading, and I wanted to start accumulating something. So the idea of passive income in Bitcoin was very important to me. I could build a business around Bitcoin, and at the same time provide other people with something I think they would want, which is passive income in Bitcoin. Other people are going to share the same sentiment and the same feeling. So it was kind of a personal decision, but also a business decision based on what I thought other people would find valuable and want.
Sure.
So what is the current state of mining now? There's been a lot of discussions about, with the price being down, it's obviously a bit of a problem. You've got
it sucks right now.
Yeah, and right now you've also got a lot of mining companies that have been shutting because they're not making profits. But just give us a little bit of a kind of overview. What's happening in the mining world, and are we at risk? Is the whole thing going to go to zero? Just give us a feeling as to how do you operate and run this kind of context or environment, and how's it working?
So,
in this, just for people to understand what's happening really from the ground of a real mining company running this stuff.
yeah, I mean, look, so the kind of quick answer is we're in a bear market, and so we're not immune to that. It's not, it's mining, because mining is not a short-term thing, you're not mining for one day or 1 month or whatever. So it has these components to it that, yeah, it's not good right now. If your returns are very low right now. However, it's like, here's an example. October was like a really difficult month. It was the month where, because you have difficulty moving every 2 weeks, if you have price going down, accelerating faster than difficulty, which is what you had in October, then you really get hurt because you've got, lower value of Bitcoin being mined and higher difficulty. Let me just translate that into economic terms for
I was just going to say, so why don't you just explain for everybody what your definition of difficulty is, just for, I know a lot of people that are in crypto, probably know, but there's a lot of people who may not understand. So just explain what difficulty is first.
So difficulty is a variable that's used in the Bitcoin network algorithm that basically monitors how much Bitcoin a miner receives in order for processing and securing the network. So it's like a moderating mechanism, and it changes every 2 weeks, which means it also lags it lags every day. Like every day that something is happening and we get closer to a difficulty adjustment, the miners are going to go, it's going to become easier or harder to mine Bitcoin, but that won't take effect for 2 weeks. So if the price of Bitcoin goes down and the difficulty stays the same, then you're making less money. Now, in October, on the way down, that's what happened. And so, mining profits, that, a lot of miners went out that month and said no more.
Right. So
now
what
we
factors
have
are driving
really
the
good
difficulty, though? Is it driven by the number of people mining, or is
it's driven by the number of miners mining. Exactly.
Okay. Is it also driven by the number of transactions running through the system? So if there's more transactions or less transactions?
Yes, that's going to affect the difficulty network. That's also why mining I believe, will be very good in the years to come, because there will be more transactions on the network that need to be mined, right? So that's why I believe we're in a growing industry and it's okay.
Right.
So I've gotten to the point, obviously, as a miner and running Elevate, where it's all about the big picture and how big we want to be, over the next 1, 2, 3 years. And I think that's how everybody should look at starting a mining portfolio, because if you're just in it to start 1 ASIC or 2 ASICs or something like that, you could probably find something else to get involved in.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mining is more about building, it's like somebody wants to buy an income property. You buy one apartment building, but then you really decide, okay, wait, I want to get into real estate, and you start buying more, or you eventually sell that building because you don't want to manage it, or you don't want to deal with this or that or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Similar to that in mining. The beauty of what we're doing is that we're making it hands-free for people to get involved, so that it's really a passive investment, when mining is really actually a very actively managed type of investment.
So just one quick question related to that, and then Yuri, you jump in. So the other question I had was that I know that we're reaching a point where in about a year from now, I think about a year from May, we're facing a potential halvening of the amount of coins that you get in the block as a reward. So what does something like that do to running a business, like a mining business like yours? How does that impact you?
So look, you have to look at the kind of historical effect of a halving, which is, it's very important, because the amount of Bitcoin to be mined as rewards will get cut in half. Right. Exactly. So that it's basically telling you it's going to get cut in half.
Right.
Now, at every halving, Bitcoin has more than doubled in price. So what is that telling you, right? Now that doesn't even take into consideration that more adoption might come, that, you know, certain banks might start adopting Bitcoin as a means of value, a storage of value. There's so many things that could happen and that are happening right now. And we are in the middle of exciting times because, you know, it could be any time where a political body or a big institutional body gives Bitcoin even more recognition. Like, for example, in I forgot what country it was, but they now recognize Bitcoin as currency. I forgot which country it was, but it was a country that you know is recognizable, and they do. I know Germany accepts Bitcoin as monetary value.
Well, Japan has been pretty open about Bitcoin being a currency.
So
and there's
like
certain states in the U.S. now that are legalizing. I mean, Florida.
That's right. That's right. It was Wyoming. Wyoming is it's now totally legal. It's currency. So look, once you kind of combine these geopolitical events with, let's say, a bull market in the price, I believe you're going to see way, way higher Bitcoin prices. And this is the interesting thing, the cool thing about mining is even though in October the mining profits were next to nothing, they had gone up just from October to November about 400%. So all of a sudden, that's why mining is good in a bear market, because you're preparing and getting online at a time where it is a bear market. But if you're able to sustain, if you're able to keep on treading water in a bear market, then certain things that happen when the market turns, you'll get a big benefit from those. And that's why we're telling everybody about who we are, because we can't go out there and say, hey, come mine because you're going to make 300% returns this year. That's not what we're saying, and that's not, you know, our whole community understands that that's not what we're doing. Our community is built of miners who are serious and know what they're doing, and we've got people that have anywhere from 3 or 4 miners to, you know, over 50 or 100 miners, and they understand we're mining in a bear market, but they also understand that it is possible to increase 400% from one month to the next. Wow. And if that goes if that has a tailwind and we're looking at an upside, it could be very, very profitable to mine.
Yeah, that 400% is it more mined in 1 month relative to another?
Exactly.
Really? Is that much variability in how much you find or get in a month?
Yeah, well, that and a combination of price. It was that.
Well, of course, yeah. So of course, so if you end up with 4 times as much as the previous month and the price doubles, then you're looking at an 8 times increase on a month basis. But that's assuming that the person were selling it every month. But if the price then drops and the difficulty changes, but you're doing month by month, reporting
distribution,
so that you can.
Yeah, we're doing month by month, and in October, from October to November, not much happened really. You know, price went from like 3,000 to like 4,000, and then settled at like 3,700, and that was enough to give us a 400% increase. Now imagine if price doubles to like, you know, 6,000 or 7,000. Now take that with a grain of salt, because you are going to get some other miners that come online because of that increase. They're going to see that and they're going to want part of that. However, you've already got a lot of miners that exited the game, and they're not going to come back in just because it went up a couple thousand, because their cost of power might be 7-8 cents. Which means they don't want to mess with this again, because if price goes down another $600, then they're not profitable, and why do I want to play that game? So mining, if we wanted to kind of address the current state of mining, we're now where the real players are mining, the guys who understand it, who know what their cost basis is, and who can come out and say, yeah, we're miners and we're going to be mining, and this is what our cost basis is. And that's why we've grown. I mean, the market has shrunk. It's been a bear market, but we have grown over 200% in the last 2 months.
My God.
And I attribute that
Wow.
I attribute that because of this fact. I mean,